Okay. Hello and welcome to the call, the second quarterly, or it's a quarter one Dash Investment Foundation report. We have some slides prepared, so I'd like to start going over those quickly. So let's see. So, oops. Okay. So here we go. So this is our report for quarter one. So it's only reporting on what we did for January through March, but we do have some forward-looking statements, so to speak. Let's see. So these are the current supervisors in alphabetical order. We have Hytham, Rodrigo, Michael, Darren, and Ryan. And I'm so happy that Rodrigo and Ryan are able to join for this report. And it's the same as last time. And the same as our last report, we have our mission, the DIF mission. Dash Investment Foundation will invest in ecosystem partners on behalf of the Dash DAO to grow Dash's footprint and deliver greater value with the resources available. So when we say greater value, it's not necessarily the value of Dash, the price of Dash. It's the amount of value you get. So like if you can spend Dash at more places, that's more value for you. If you can, if you have more products that use Dash, that's more value for you as a customer. So hopefully it would have a positive price impact, but that's not the goal. Okay, so here's our DIF Vision. We want to facilitate the solicitation, negotiation, and due diligence of investments of potential interest to the Dash DAO. Guide entrepreneurs seeking funding from the DIF by educating them on the process and best practices to improve the chance for successful investment. Manage reserves for the network in a manner that balances the needs to grow the reserves and limits risk. And we had a good slide on that for this report. We want to see the liquidity and growth of emerging Dash financial markets and products and conduct all activities with a high degree of transparency. When I started working for the DIF, I actually interviewed a lot of community members, and some of the feedback I got is that the DIF was doing some mission creep. And so this vision is supposed to be to keep us focused. So our mission doesn't go beyond this vision. Everything we do should support one of these 5 things. We could change it, but it was a lot of work to make this. And if we can avoid more work, I would like that. Okay, so the quarter 4 2020 update. So this last report, we announced 4 investments, and one of them was to be announced, and that investment is Valkyrie. So I didn't want to go a second quarterly report with saying we have a to be announced investment. There you go. That investment is Valkyrie, and if you're looking online, this is the company. This is the website of the company I'm telling you about. So what is Valkyrie? Valkyrie is an asset management firm that aims to make alternative assets available in a fund structure. So current products that they have include a Bitcoin trust. And so that's, my understanding, has been approved by the SEC. There are some regulatory issues, but some people can put Bitcoin in the trust, and then there'll be shares issued that will be traded over the counter. SEC rules require 6 months from Bitcoin in the trust to the shares issued. Anyway, and then also Valkyrie is applied for a Bitcoin ETF. We had reason to believe that Valkyrie is better positioned to actually deliver an ETF, although if you've been watching the news, there have been some general pessimistic articles written by journalists about a Bitcoin ETF. So, but at the same time, this was a low cost, high reward thing that Valkyrie did. We totally supported that. That was a good idea for a business to do. And the next, so why did we invest? We expected these. We still expect these benefits. And one thing is its broad exposure to the crypto ecosystem. I do think Dash is the best, at a currency, at the currency application. But the market hasn't agreed with me for quite some time. So this allows us to kind of have exposure to other parts of the market. So even if the market doesn't reflect the value that I think Dash has, the DIF will be exposed to the market thinking other projects have value. And so that's a hedge for Dash. So like if other projects do well, we'll do well. And this, we do expect that this investment will help keep Dash relevant in an industry that has historically passed over Dash. Okay, so please join us and welcome Valkyrie to the Dash community. They're doing a lot of work behind the scenes, and we can't tell you everything, but please stay tuned. And that's all the investment you'll have from me, but or all the announcement you'll have from me. But definitely see what maybe you could start paying attention to Valkyrie. That might be fun. Okay, so DashDirect. Ryan, could you tell the community about DashDirect?
Yeah. Before I do that, one small correction.
Thank you.
Valkyrie Trust shares are subject to a lockup period, and after the lockup period expires, they will trade on exchanges, not OTC, as you indicated. What that means is that people would be able to hold those shares in regular investment accounts, in IRAs, exactly like they're able to with the Grayscale products.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yep.
that's
just a small correction on that one.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, DashDirect is an application. It's a white label application that CrayPay is developing for Dash users. It allows for the spending of Dash at I think we're up to around 180,000 retail locations in the United States. That is in beta testing currently. We're testing it through test flight, and I'm not sure the equivalent on Android, but the app is very close. The original target date was April 30th, and there were some development delays, and that's why it hasn't launched yet. But I can tell you that we're getting very close to a complete product at this point. DashDirect is an application that will be owned by CrayPay, and we are shareholders in CrayPay. We did work closely with them on everything from branding to colors within the app, so we've had a great deal of input. But to be clear, the DIF is not in the business of developing applications or that type of thing. This is a CrayPay product, so we can only pass along the timelines being shared with us.
Right, and the development of the DashDirect app influenced my decision to support this investment.
Yeah, and so what's great about the app is it allows for much deeper discounts than you would typically be able to achieve with credit cards. The average discount is somewhere in the 4 to 5% initially, and the discount will increase over time as we use it more. And the reason for that is as people use the app, a portion of the revenue associated with each purchase will go towards paying down the initial cost of development of the application. And as that development cost gets paid off, we open up more savings. And so not only are we going to start off with 4 to 5% savings, but you'll be able to increase that savings significantly as we pay down the initial development costs through usage. And all of those additional savings will get passed on to the Dash user.
All right, thank you for that update. All right, our next slide is about what we've been doing in the first quarter, we had several investment opportunities, and I was wondering if Rodrigo would tell us about some of that. Let's tell us about what we've been doing in Brazil.
Sure. Thanks for having me, Darren. Well, first of all, we in the past few months we had 5 companies, business from Brazil presented to us, and this was due to the relationship that the Brazil community built with those companies. And after analyzing those 5 companies, 2, the contract has already been signed. We're just waiting on minor legal aspects to make the announcement. Brazil is a place now to focus on the expansion of the DIF, as well due to the importance of the exchange rate. So it is a much better investment to put $100,000, $200,000 in Brazil after the exchange rate. This is over R$1 million instead of other areas. So for the short period of time, there will be a focus in Brazil. And we're actually proud to announce those companies in the upcoming week, where we have most of the aspect of those investments. There's got to be bringing a good and a big opportunity for the Dash network in the future.
Yes. So yeah, any investment that the DIF makes, there's a contract that guides it, and so we're working out those contracts and then executing.
Yeah, the investment process in Brazil is particularly complex. Some of the complexity we discovered along the way, in terms of processes that the local government forces foreign investors to go through. So it's been extremely time consuming, but these are also larger investments for us than we've typically done in the past. Of note, one of them has already completed another investment round after ours at more than double the valuation that we achieved. And so, it is very hard work to do investments in Brazil, but we're seeing excellent results, and that makes it worthwhile.
And also we just had a meeting with a law firm that hopefully will be helping us in the near future with all the legalities and contracts and assignments for the DIF on those international transactions and international acquirements.
Thank you. All right, very good. So yeah, this is very exciting. I'm happy that the DIF is expanding jurisdictions. I think that Dash is a service that's for the world, and I'm glad that the DIF can reflect that. So looking ahead, Rodrigo, you guys published a podcast recently. How's that going?
It's going very well. We'll be using my video expertise for the DIF as well. Myself and Hyven and any other supervisor of the DIF will be hosting podcasts, hopefully every week, sometimes every 2 weeks, giving the latest information. We already have one podcast out. There's another one coming next week where we're going to just explain how long does it take from the first time a company presents themselves to the DIF until we sign the contract, and then to the announcement and the PR and marketing strategy. And so the master nodes, the Dash network, are aware that this is a process that takes several weeks.
Yeah, thank you, Rodrigo. So also responding to community feedback, it probably would be best to create a subdomain and list all current investments of the DIF. And I think it would be a nice place to house financial information. So as we produce the financial reports that you'll see coming up on this call, we'll just kind of house them at a subdomain. And so if you ever want to check on it, you can just go to that and do that. And we've also streamlined the financial reporting process, which this was our first time, which we think next time it will be streamlined. Anyway, some more on that coming up. create a quarterly, so we think we'll be more quickly because we'll have a bookkeeper. That's how we're streamlining it. We've brought in outside resource. Some of the community says the supervisors should be paid, and well, as somebody doing the work, I'd rather pay people with the expertise to do the more tedious stuff. And so we'll pay a little bit of money to have a bookkeeper, and that will free me and Michael up to do other things, and it also makes us more efficient. We'll probably have a more impactful financial report.
And this was, an effort on the part of Michael to go find a bookkeeper that is inexpensive, high quality, and accepts Dash as a form of payment. And so kudos to Michael for the effort to go out and locate such a rare person and get them onboarded.
Yes. So, and and having this as a task for hire keeps the costs down generally to the DIF. It's cheaper than the employee. Okay, so Dash Watch will accept applications for DIF Supervisor elections in June. I've already talked to Dash Watch, and we've kind of got a schedule set. So I think June 4th is the first day to apply. There is a open seat on our board. So and there was a little question, but let's just be clear that all 6 seats are up for election, and there's a 6th seat. So I'm actually hoping we get somebody to help us. I plan to run again, so I hope somebody comes in and helps. All right, financial statements. We used a bookkeeper, and I'm actually really excited about that. It's kind of silly to be excited about such a small little thing, but anyway. Okay, it was hard work to get it onboarded. So here's our current assets. Our illiquid private equity stayed exactly the same. There was 100 of Quadrancy, 100 of Valkyrie. Now you know Valkyrie, 100 of Craypay, and I put Ready Raider on our books at 60,000. That was funded with Dash directly, and kind of when the funding started, it was worth around 40,000. At the end, it was worth around 60,000. But at the same time, this is illiquid private equity, so it's not something that can be traded so very easily, and so kind of what its value is on our books is, don't get too excited about that. But our liquid assets, that's something I am excited about. They went up from $90,000 to $556,000 at the end of the first quarter. And at the end of the first quarter, I think the price of Dash was around 230. So with the price appreciation, we're doing fairly well.
Just to add to some clarity on this page, when we talk about illiquid private equity on our balance sheet, we keep those at the valuation at which we invested.
Right. Book value.
Book
Yes.
value is not reflecting any changes in valuation that would have occurred since we invested. We are going to attempt to periodically assess whether or not there has been a subsequent financial transaction of sufficient size in the shares that we own, with new investors coming in with the same class of shares at a different valuation than we have on our books, and we would adjust it at that point in time. However, as private equity, those events are infrequent. And so, you shouldn't expect these numbers to change very frequently.
Right. And it's work for us to try to track down what this is worth and all that stuff. Good. All right. Good. But it's nice to have a placeholder on our books for where this is. So now here's the income expenses. Our bookkeeper reports that the Dash that was distributed from the Dow at the time of the distribution was worth $385,540. And then we had gains on, because we hold Dash directly, and also we're making a market in liquid. There's another, the liquid exchange. There's another slide about that. And we incurred $50,000 of expenses, and so that gave us a net gain for liquid assets of $465,000. So the expenses included all of the 2021 director's fees. So that's two supervisors and two directors, excuse me, and a secretary, which is a company. The secretary is officially their company. And so they all charge, but that keeps the DIF running for 1 year. And in my estimate, that's a very good price. That's we get the value that we're giving for that. Reserve management. So we've been using a reserve management strategy that is targeting for the full liquid asset portfolio. We're targeting 70% US dollar, 30% Dash risk exposure. The DIF has been unsuccessful at securing access to other liquid markets with real assets. So like, for example, gold. The DIF continues to pursue a traditional brokerage account in order to balance into a broader class of assets. So it's something we've basically said we want to do, but with all the things we're trying to do, we only have so much time to devoting it to get a traditional brokerage account. So that strategies, and then also at Liquid, we're making a 50-50, we're making a market. And this is to support our vision about building out new products and new Dash markets. So here's everything that went into the Liquid account during the quarter. The balance started with 0. And if these on these dates, if the Dash deposited was taken at the price during that day, and these prices are from our bookkeeper. So I mean, what time of the day, I don't know. So if you just took if you just converted these assets completely to 50-50 at the day of deposit, that would have been worth $181. But with our active market making trading using Hummingbot, the portfolio ended the quarter at 215,000. So I'm a mathematician. For some reason I have memory of reading books about portfolio theory, and so I think this is a fair comparison. If we're targeting a 50-50 risk exposure, we're beating that risk exposure. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. So we were getting some questions about the DIF legal structure, and we're not going to be able to tell you everything, but the DIF does indeed have no owners, and that's kind of confusing to people, but it's because of the Cayman jurisdiction is one jurisdiction that allows.
To clarify, no owners and no members either.
Right.
That's a distinction when it comes to nonprofits. Nonprofits are required in most jurisdictions to have members. Cayman has this structure that requires neither owners nor members.
Right. Thank you. And yeah, so no owners and no members. So it was set up, it had members, the members dismiss themselves and don't get replaced. So now there's 2 directors. So they're the 2 people that are actually allowed to act as the corporation. It's a foundation, but a foundation is a type of corporation, and and a corporation, just like in pretty much every jurisdiction, can't act like a person. It can, the DIF can sue. So if something doesn't go right, so nobody hopes that happens, but that is something that can happen. There's 6 supervisors, and I felt I wanted to, currently there's only 5 serving, but there are 6 seats as per our constitution. And we have 1 secretary, which is a company. So with Cayman law, a secretary has to be something like an approved person, or qualified person. And usually companies go through the regulatory process to be a qualified person. And if you want more information, you can actually just click right here, and it'll pull up a nice 4-page, boom. Like it's very, as far as legal documents go, of course, it's not legal documents. It's just a legal opinion from a law firm. It's quite short, and so you can read that and verify that what I'm telling you is exactly right. One thing I think is cute, they call this type of corporation an orphan corporation because it has no owners, and it can have no founder too. All right. So thank you very much. Does anybody here have anything else to add about our first quarter, or maybe something they're excited about our second quarter?
I'll just say keep following the DIF Twitter. Once we're gonna be posting some more podcasts and some more information for the Dash Network.
All right. Well, thank you, Rodrigo.
Yeah, I mean, I think this quarter really demonstrates the value that the DIF can provide to the network. Unlike a grant system, we have ongoing interest in these companies, and have the ability as shareholders to directly communicate with their board and management team, influence the direction of the company, and that never goes away. A new slate of supervisors will be in here next year, or for the next year, and we'll be able to continue guiding those discussions with those companies. And I think that this is kind of the first time that we're really seeing the power that the Dash Investment Foundation can have, because we've pursued some of these types of products for years through regular integration agreements or what have you. And when you combine that with an investment in the company, it opens doors. And I think we're all going to benefit from the doors that have been opened here in the last few months. And I'm particularly excited about Valkyrie. Grayscale, as an example, has always been very cold towards Dash. I have had meetings with them in the past, but it has been a difficult set of interactions that we've had with them, and we don't know the reasons for it. But what the Dash Investment Foundation is allowing us to do is to chart our own course, and that's what's really exciting.
Yes, thank you, Ryan. All right, so thanks for tuning in to the first quarter 2021 Dash Investment Foundation report. I'm really looking forward to the next one. We did not have any outlays to report in the first quarter, but a lot of the early startups don't work out. So, if we had to say no, from my viewpoint, sometimes the no's are as important as the yeses. So anyway, and I'm just was more than happy to report how the balancing strategy is working out. It would have been a little bit better to hold Dash, but you never know that ahead of time. And when I started, the DIF was very heavy into Dash, and so when Dash took a dip in price, my heart would flutter because of my own investment. But then if the DIF gets hurt by that too, it's kind of like a double whammy. So the balancing strategy is very important in my view. So thank you all, and see you next quarter. If not, and I'll be chatting with you on the forums.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. So we're stopped.